So you were talking about trust.
Yeah, and so I was talking to the voice of God, and his real name is Chris, but we call him the voice of God because there's already one. There's Christian, Chris. We really have a rule now. We only hire people named Chris.
Yeah,
because we have
perfect.
Chris Hoagie.
Yeah, it's making resumes really easy to review.
Yeah, we got a lot of Chris's here, but the voice of God was telling me the opposite. He's like, I don't trust independence because he has had an issue every time he's gone to this shop in Orange County. It's had another issue and he's been towed back and forth. Tell us the story, Russo, God, voice of God. And if he sounds like the voice of Satan, it's because he's really pissed.
So, I was driving on the freeway after visiting my family, as I'm one to do on the weekends. And I had just gotten on the freeway and was driving back up home towards LA when my car stopped going when I pushed the go pedal.
It was a Toyota, by the way.
It's a Toyota Yaris 09, great
God's
car.
very sensible.
Conservative.
$4,000 car. Go pedal wouldn't go, so pulled over to the the side of the road.
He's like a hip mechanic.
Right.
Now he's like the go pedal. Or he's a NASCAR driver.
Go pedal.
Pulled over to the side of the road, got it towed to my family's mechanic, who said the next day, oh, well, this and this are broken. We'll have it done by Wednesday. And then
How much?
$1,400. And so said Wednesday, got it done Tuesday, thought great, under promising,
Figured
over
out how to get
delivering.
back to Orange County. Because if you're not from here, Orange County is 45 minutes to 3 hours away, depending on traffic.
On a good day. Went back down to Orange County, picked the car up, was running.
Is it past the 405Y or?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's deep into Orange County.
Deep Orange County.
Northern San Diego.
Pretty much. So it's closer to San Diego than it is Los Angeles. That's for sure. So got the car. And then as I'm driving away, it starts making a terrible screeching noise. So I had to bring it back in. And they said, oh, well, that sounds like it's probably your starting motor. So we'll change that out.
Starting motor?
Yeah, the starter.
Starter?
The before go pedal gets pushed, the go motor has to start.
The go motor that
I
starts
thought it was
the go
your
pedal.
water pump pulley.
That was the first thing that broke.
Oh. That
So
was
then-
$1,400?
It was that and a fuel pump.
Oh, okay.
So then brought it back in. They just charged for the part, no labor, just because I had been in and out of there already. So labor was on them.
How did that make you feel?
That made me feel good.
Okay.
Made me feel like a valued
So
customer.
how much did you spend the second time?
It's $300 for the part.
And we're up to...
1,700.
$1,700.
We're
Quick with the
pushing
math.
50% of the purchase cost. That was awesome.
And what was that? That was about 2 weeks ago, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so now it just crapped out on me again this morning when I tried
Nice. So what you need to do, Russo, is you need to go into the shop and ask the person there, can you show me the dartboard that you throw the darts at to decide what you're going to tell me that I need?
Is that how you guys do it, Jeremy?
No, we use diagnostic dice at our shop.
So see,
Which is an upgrade of the Magic
That wouldn't
8
Oh.
happen in a dealership.
It would?
No, it wouldn't.
Come on.
No, it wouldn't.
Wait. The problems that have been there could just be. How many miles are on your Yaris?
I just passed over 100,000 when it broke down initially.
It's barely broken.
Did
in.
either of these shops that you took the vehicle to ask you for your service record?
It was the same shop.
It was the same shop.
Oh, did that shop ask you for your
Family shop.
recommend? They asked you for your service record.
No, probably because I've only ever taken it there.
Ah,
But now he's going to take it to a dealer.
no, he's not.
He's not.
I'm gonna fix it on the way home.
That's like Jeremy offered to tow it to,
I would. I mean, yeah, it's
to Vegas, basically.
It's easy to get customers. They're everywhere. You just have to be willing to help them.
Jeremy's shop is closer to Vegas than to LA.
Right. So it's going from San Diego to Vegas.
There we go. There we go.
LA is completely written out
Do
of
you
the
ever just
conversation.
at lunch just go play the slots in Vegas?
We can hit state line in about an hour and a half.
I was gonna say you could open your door and drop your coin in the machine. You're so close to Vegas.
So with Trust, has the shop reached out to you to follow up to see how things are going?
No,
If they did, would you be open to their offer of help?
probably.
If you were to place a call to them or text them and say, hey guys, I'm still having another issue, what can you do? How do you feel their attitude towards you would be?
They would probably say, bring it in.
That's another word that should have been on the 4-letter list a couple episodes ago, but it's not 4 letters. Why don't you just bring it on back in? That is the most frustrating thing for customers. Like, you want the car fixed, you want it fixed right the first time, and you don't want any other problems, right? Mm-hmm. So no matter how far they've been over backwards to help the customer out and bring it back in, the fact that his car is still broken is very frustrating.
Yeah, now he's got you spent $4,000 on the car?
I think it was $3,800.
And now
and
he's going to
change.
be in it $3,800.
Yeah, it's sunk.
Yeah, that thing's not getting sold.
You're an owner.
I'm not gonna break even.
Now, can I ask the voice of God another question about this topic?
Sure.
So, in your opinion, as an auto repair consumer, how intensive should a shop or dealership look your vehicle over? So, when you go to pick it up, what are your expectations with everything?
Are you
else?
asking, like, did they tell him all the other stuff that was wrong
Yeah.
with it?
They did not. They said these two things
That wouldn't
failed.
happen in a dealership.
They said these two things failed. It's going to be $1,400, and then something broke. Literally, after I drove it back home from the shop, it started making a noise, and they said, "Okay, well then that's got to be this. So bring it back in. We'll fix that," which they did, and then now a couple weeks later, it doesn't start,
Wow.
which could just be a battery issue,
It could be.
Could be.
but.
Yeah, but the point of the matter is there's other stuff wrong with that car, and they're not telling him all the stuff that's wrong. So every time something breaks, he thinks it's related to the other thing.
Right.
Because they're not telling him, hey, by the way, you might want to plan on spending another $3,000 in the next 6 months because this and this and this.
Well, there's that saying that consumers have, which is ever since you.
How many letters is that?
Too many to
How do you
count.
spell that?
Well, that's a that's a 909 term. Well, a 760 term. That's the IE term there.
Interesting, though. Interesting that, wouldn't have happened at the dealer. So
I disagree.
That's
with
all
you.
he's
It
trying
could
to
happen
say.
at the dealer.
dealers never don't inspect a car and present the work.
I will say I would have
Never
been
happens,
happy to
right,
pay
Christian?
more money for it to just work.
Yeah.
If he was
That's a good lesson.
Yeah,
If he
he's
was-
not shopping.
Yep.
Yeah, if he was telling me, these parts are also broken, but we're not going to fix them now because they're not an issue. Like you can solve that later down the line. That would have been okay. But
You just want the whole
instead,
story.
it's these parts are broken. Go fix those. Oh, but then this other part is broken. Go fix that. But now this other part is broken.
And if they had told you at that time that your battery tested marginal, and one of the things you can do is you can date code batteries so you can see how old the battery is. So if they had had that conversation with you and prepped you for it, and it is a battery now, then that's on you, not necessarily on the shop. So it's your choice to do it at that point in time. Very interesting though.
It's interesting the perspective though, right? Is when you don't inspect the car and tell them what to plan for, then they assume that it's your fault because you just worked on it, right? Even though the battery and the water pump or whatever aren't really connected in any way. And so you bring that on yourself as a dealership or a shop, right? I'm being facetious that dealerships inspect every time because they're
they
just
don't.
as bad. But
Can I interject a different word here instead of dealership and independent? Can we use the word expert? Because there's a big difference at the expert, the expertise level of the technician doing the inspection.
amateur or pro?
Amateur or pro, absolutely. So we had a customer a couple weeks ago brought in a car that she had just bought. She took it to a quick lube. They did $500 worth of who knows what. The vehicle had a blown head gasket. but because they weren't experts, they weren't able to identify it.
What
And
they do to it?
They did a radiator flush on it. They did a transmission service on it.
What?
Yeah, and it had a blown head gasket. It overheated.
How
So-
is that going to fix it?
It's not. That's
I think they didn't recognize that there was a head gasket issue and just recommended the preventative maintenance, is what it sounds like.
yes. And it also, it was a train wreck. They could not identify that it didn't have the factory cooling fan on it, so it had an aftermarket one. So there's obviously something going on there, which I would have been like, oh, timeout. We got to figure this out first before we do any type of maintenance on this car. So that's just the difference of having an expert. And, I've seen it in my career where you have a master technician that's, somebody that's been with Volkswagen for 25 years. They can look at that car from bumper to bumper and give you a list, and they can project what's going to fail and when it's going to fail, and they're pretty much zeroed in on it. And then if you don't have the experts working on the car, it's kind of more of a transaction.
Yeah.
They're transactionalizing it, and they're not looking out for everything.
I agree with that. Thank you so much for watching this clip of Service Drive Revolution. Now you can catch the full episode on YouTube, iTunes, or Spotify, or wherever you consume your podcast. If you have any questions, go ahead and post them in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe and hit the bell icon so you're notified when we post new episodes. I'm Chris Collins, and you can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Chris Bulldog Collins. And I'll see you again on the next episode.